Perfect for a Bond premiere. The girl with the golden dress and Dr. No hair. I should talk. It's been a busy week for Kate and Wills as well. They, as well as the premiere, they visited a petting zoo where Kate held a tarantula. If you're wondering where they got that spider from, Greg, any ideas where they got the spider?
Did they get it on the web?
Yes, they did! That's where you get spiders.
I should go now.
No, you peaked, you can't top that. And finally, it was the Labour Party conference in Brighton this week. Oh, yes. So Keir Starmer there, electrifying the party faithful. Actually, it was Deputy Leader Angela Rayner who really got them going this week with a bit of old-fashioned Tory bashing. Did you see she got into trouble for calling Boris Johnson scum? I mean, that is a bit much. I mean, scum is something unpleasant you find in a bath. Hey, we've got a great lineup for you tonight. Later, we'll have music and chat from our good friend Jack Severetti and the legendary Nile Rodgers. But first, he's a top comic and one of our favourite people. It's Greg Davies. She's a singer-songwriter and queen of the kitchen disco. It's Sophie Ellis-Bextor. She's the British Paralympic star who's broken records and brought home gold at the Tokyo Games. It's Kadeena. And he is the front man of the biggest band in rock today. From Foo Fighters, it's Dave Grohl! That is some range. That's range. I like it, I like it. Listen, normally, I pretend to be interested in everyone, but really, I'm just thinking, do you have the gold medals on you? You do, don't you?
I've got my medals in.
Yay!
I feel like they're like children that I'm just like... Is that what you do, children, when you have them?
Nice. Now hold them like this.
I've definitely done that pose on the page.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Tokyo Olympics were a bit weird because no crowd. Does that affect you? Well, obviously, you broke world records, it didn't. But are you so in the zone you don't notice there aren't crowds cheering you on?
I think we were really looking at that face.
Just like, who are you waving at?
Wave to the crowd that's not there.
Yeah, turning left.
We've got quite a good team, like, you know, the British team, like, we're quite a big team. And then the velodrome, like, because it's got a roof on it, it can be quite noisy. But honestly, I was so in the zone. I had my headphones in and I was listening to my music and dancing around, and then you get on the start line and you've got to focus on nothing else but yourself.
Yeah. Because Dave Grohl, I imagine you would not like that, no crowd. You're back in front of big crowds again, aren't you?
Yeah, we're back to doing shows now. And, you know, it's funny. I'm addicted to that sort of applause because the day I was born, January 14th, 1969...
Write it down.
The delivery room was filled with these young doctors that were there to witness their first live birth. And so as my mother squeezed me out, the room burst into applause.
You're making that up.
I swear to God, it's fucked me up for the rest of my life. It was absolutely true.
Because Sophie Ellis-Bextor, is part of you liking to perform? Do you think it is? I mean, not that you got applauded when you were born, but you were born into the public eye. I mean, your mom was very famous, so you grew up in the public eye.
Oh, golly. I mean, it's really hard. Who isn't influenced by what happened in their childhood when it comes to what you do when you're bigger? But I think the fact that my parents both worked in TV meant that I thought that any job was something I could aim for. So being a musician wasn't kind of on a different level to sort of more normal jobs.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think maybe I was always a bit attracted to a bit of that, but I don't know really, because I felt like music was kind of my own thing, away from what my mum was doing. And my mum, when she was doing Blue Peter, was when I was between the ages of like 4 and 8. So it was kind of crazy. She was being mobbed by people like the same height as me, which was really strange experience for a child. I think.
This is Blue Peter. It's a children's. Do you ever heard? No.
No idea what anyone's talking
That's my
about.
mum. No.
Oh, hey, look.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The one at the back.
Thank you, Greg. Thanks for pointing that out.
Because you were a Blue Peter fan, Greg.
Yes, I was, Graham. And it's one of those things that I told your researchers that I immediately regretted. 'Cause I know you're going to make me admit in front of Sophie that I had a crush on her mum.
Don't worry, you're not the first. That's basically like the story of my parties I'd go to when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
I'd be talking to a boy and I think this is going quite well, and then he'd be like, I used to really fancy your mum on Blue Peter, and I'd just be like...
It's a real awakening, those early Blue Peter years.
Well, I have no idea who her mother is, but the first time I saw her, I'm like, that's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. That's Sophie Ellis-Bextor. And it was in front of the hotel in Spain at the MTV Awards in 2003.
Yeah.
And I remember 2002, something like that. I'm like, oh my God, there she is. And I walked up to her, I was like, murder on the dance floor.
Yeah. I think I thought that you were taking the mickey.
No.
I've got some old recordings of Blue Peter if you want to see them.
Sounds like such a funny...
Let's have a kiki later.
This is all getting a bit weird.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Now, here is the thing. Dave Grohl, you are not here to sing or talk about music. You've written a book, The Storyteller. It's out... Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah. It's out on the 5th of October. And it's fair to say this was kind of your lockdown gig, your lockdown project.
Yeah, the band had made an album, and we had booked a tour. Last year was our 25th anniversary, so... we had this stadium tour that was going around the world, and we had made videos and documentaries, and then everything shut down. And I'm not good at doing nothing. I'm bad at vacations. I thought oh my God, what am I going to do? There's nothing to do. So I started an Instagram page, my first.
Okay.
And rather than take pictures of myself in a thong in the mirror, I thought I'll just write stories. Both of my parents were writers. And I really enjoy writing, so I started writing these stories about, incredible experiences I've had jamming with David Bowie, jamming with Prince, rock and roll stories. And then I realized we were going to be here a while. So I thought, well, I'll just write a book. And so I spent the last year writing these short stories about these incredible experiences of my life.
And what's extraordinary, I don't think I've ever read a book like this where someone has a single dream and then it comes true. You were very young when you wanted to be a drummer, you wanted to be a rock star.
Yeah, I mean, I never really took lessons to play music. I would listen to records and learn by ear. And I had posters on my walls. It was Led Zeppelin posters, and there were lasers and dragons and castles and smoke machines. And I just didn't think that was real life. I didn't think that was attainable. And then I went and I saw a punk rock band. First show I ever saw was a punk rock band in a club in Chicago. I think I was 13 years old. There were 2 lights, a little stage. They knew 4 chords. There were 50 people there. They busted into the song. There was glass flying and piss and puke and it was I was in heaven. I was this is it. This is rock and roll. Because I realized I could do that too. So, I had left school and joined the band and started touring the world when I was 18.
But did your parents just go, bye, Dave?
So my father was a conservative Republican speechwriter on Capitol Hill. I'm from Washington, D.C.
Okay.
So he was like Bob Dole. I mean, he was a very conservative guy. My mother was a public school teacher who taught creative writing, public speaking, both musicians, this one liberal, this one conservative. So my father was like, that's it. I'm disowning you. My mother was like, you better be good. And so she said, go ahead, go out and do it.
Wow.
And I fucking did it.
You did? I mean, you did! Yeah. And when you look at, a life held between covers like this, and what I think fascinating is something like, Nirvana that changed your life, changed the world, is just 3.5 years in these years.
Well, that's the thing, is that in those 3.5 years that I was in Nirvana, it was a lifetime. I mean, you can imagine how much changed in that time. Yeah. Not just in music, but in the world. I mean, it was such a beautiful time. It was like a renaissance. It was there was some sort of like new emotional awakening where people felt okay to be themselves. And when it all ended, it was just a matter of trying to figure out how to continue life.
And when you say it all ended, I mean, when Kurt Cobain died, you were giving up. You tried to escape.
I did. I wasn't sure what to do with my life. I couldn't even listen to music. I didn't want to turn on the radio. I put my instruments away. I didn't... it hurt too much to listen to music. So I thought, I'm going to go to one of my favorite places in the world, one of the most remote areas I could find, just to go out and like soul search and find myself. So I went to the Ring of Kerry.
Yay! It is beautiful.
It's absolutely beautiful.
Did you get nice weather?
No, of course not. It was
Oh,
very
yeah.
nice. And so
Very rare.
I'm driving down this country road, and I'm like trying to figure out my life and trying to move on. And I see a hitchhiker, and he's in a parka, and it's kind of maybe raining a little. And as I'm pulling up to him, I think I'm going to pick this kid up. He's got a far way to go. And I got closer and closer, and I saw he had a Kurt Cobain t-shirt on. And I thought, even in the most remote area I could possibly find, I can't outrun this thing.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I'm going to go home and I'm going to start over. And I started the Foo Fighters.
Wow. And you say it like that. You went back and you did record music. And I guess I'm stupid. I didn't know Foo Fighters was just Dave Grohl.
Yeah. Well, first of all, what a stupid name for a band. You know, when I went in to record it, I booked 6 days in a studio down the street from my house. And I'd always recorded things by myself. I could play the drums, I play the bass, I play guitar, I can sing. But it was my secret. I never let anyone else hear it. So I thought, okay, I booked 6 days at the studio. I blasted through 15 songs. I made cassettes. I gave them to friends and people at gas stations. And I called it Foo Fighters because I thought, they'll think it's a band because it's plural.
Yeah, I did, right?
And then it became a band. But the reason why I did it was because I just wanted to, like, I needed to survive. I needed to, like, get on with life. I was too young. I was 25.
Yeah.
Life wasn't over yet.
It is crazy that you're having to start everything again at 25.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, you talk about the name of the band. You didn't have much luck with band names. Your first band in school, what were you called?
There was a battle of the bands, and we had to apply, and on the form, we couldn't think of anything, so we just called ourselves Nameless.
Okay. Was it this band?
This was the one. That's Nameless. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, by the way, we lost that battle of the bands, and I think the reason why is because we decided to play the theme from Footloose.
Also, it does look like 5 boys sharing one guitar. Can I play it? No, it's my turn. Now, Sophie, your first band, what were they called?
The Audience, which is also not, like, the easiest band name, really. Also, we decided to make it all one word, so when you write it down, it's basically Theoudience, or, yeah.
I believe this is Theoudience. Yeah. You look so pleased to be there, Sophie.
Wow.
You know, I saw this picture for the first time again recently, and the weirdest thing, I've got literally no memory of that being taken. And you'd think that would be really memorable.
Were the turtlenecks required, or was this just a coincidence?
No, I'm sure that was probably,
As a drummer, I think you'll appreciate what the drummer's playing there. He appears to be playing the sheep.
Well, that's the best part of the sheep, by the way. That's right there. That's the one. That sounds good.
That's where all the acoustics are.
Right. Yeah, that's where you get the bass.
The bass, exactly.
Hey, you're not the only musicians here. Greg, you were in a band.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. What were you called?
Oh, yeah. Back in the 90s. We were called 5 Licks of the Lemon, Graham.
I believe we have a picture of 5 licks of the lemon. There they are.
What you don't see from that's me. That's my... Yeah. I'm on my knees, and with good reason, because Martin, our guitarist, is 5 foot tall. And I'm 6'8", so we were never going to make it on that basis alone.
But did you do gigs and stuff?
Yeah, we did a handful of gigs. It was a very similar... I started off on drums, very similar story to Dave. Started off on drums, became the lead singer, but you'll all know that. We did a handful of gigs, yeah.
And, ladies and gentlemen, Kadeena Cox, you were also in a band.
I mean, I'm not as cool as these guys.
I beg to differ. You're the one with the Olympic gold medal. you were one.
What band were you in?
So I was in my high school, Weatherby High School's brass band, playing the trombone.
The trombone!
Don't judge me.
And have you kept up the trombone, Kadeena?
No, I haven't. Do you know, when you're a school kid and you've got that case, it's not the best shaped case. I did get laughed at for running around with that case.
So trombone was my first instrument.
Wow.
It was like
See,
around the same age.
guitarist.
And same thing, the case, carrying it to school every day. And I was sitting there playing the trombone. I was like, I will never get any chicks playing.
Same was very much true of Five Licks of the Lemon. There were no women involved. We did a gig in a pub, one of our handful of gigs, and my parents came to watch, which is quite sweet, isn't it? And there was an old man who was a local at the pub, propping up the bar, and then during the first song, my dad nudged this old guy who was sitting with his pint and went, "What do you think?" And he said, "I have never heard such a fucking awful noise in my life." And my dad went, "Oh, that's my son singing." He went, "Oh, they're good." They're good.
Now, Kadeena Cox, I wouldn't discount you for music because if you set your mind to something, it appears you can do it. So track cycling, running. You were running first, then the track cycling. When did you discover... Because, I mean, these medals are for cycling. So when did you discover you're this amazing cyclist?
So I actually fell into cycling by accident. So I got ill in 2014, and after... So I had a stroke and then was diagnosed with MS, and after the MS diagnosis, I had really bad balance, and every time I tried to run, I'd fall over. But I still wanted to be in, like, with the athletes and the scholarship gym. So I sat on a watt bike, and it's a really sad story, actually. There was a girl who was trying to transfer from swimming into cycling, and she said, "Oh, I've got the number for this, you know, the woman that leads the cycling, like, can get you in." So she gave me the number. I'm now a cyclist. She's no longer in sport.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's changed channels the minute she saw it.
I was like, "I'm so sorry, I just kind of stole your spot." But, yeah. So I just kind of... It was because I couldn't run, so sitting on a bike was easier at that point. And, yeah, I literally did one testing session, and the physiologist said to my head coach, "You've got to get her on the team." So we did, and a year later, I was world champion.
I know. It's terrifying, and you've turned it into this really inspirational, amazing thing. How quickly were you able to do that in your own head? Were you able to hear that diagnosis and go, OK, I can turn this around, I can make this a positive thing?
Yeah, I think I'm just one of those people. If I, like, sit and dwell on something for too long, then, like, it's just never going to go well. So it's probably, like, I think it's, like, 48 hours. Me and my mum, we asked the consultant straight away if I was going to be able to run again. And he said, you know, that there's potential there. He doesn't see why I wouldn't be able to if I worked hard. So I took it and ran with it.
Really? And you are running again, obviously cycling, but which seems like you could do anything. But does it affect your everyday life?
Yeah. So I think a lot of people see me moving around and they don't quite understand my symptoms and how I struggle. A lot of the issues I have are kind of muscle spasms or sensory issues. So I was watching I was at the theatre last night, and I sat next to this guy, and I'm just thinking, I'm gonna absolutely punch this guy in the face. And not because I disliked him, but because I have spasms. So everyone knows never to sit on my right-hand side, because I have it. COVID. So I get, like, kind of, spasms that I'm not sure are gonna come, and that, I can just hit people, or because of my sensory issues, like, I can't feel things great, so, like, I've constantly got pins and needles. I don't have the best, like, feeling in this hand, so, like, heat stuff, I pick stuff up all the time, and it takes me forever to realise it's burning my hand.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's that competitive spirit that kind of has saved your life, transformed your life, because even things like, we watched you on MasterChef, which she won, yeah. If you hadn't won that, would you have been upset?
No. it was obviously great to win, but I think I'm going to play this down now. No, it was like obviously MasterChef is cool, but it's not like I haven't trained for it. Like I've never like worked hard to be a chef. So like, I mean, I would have been upset if I didn't win.
I think we all enjoyed the episode where you made a sandwich.
Oh, don't talk about the sandwich.
Well, it is amazing you won in an episode you made a sandwich. No, it's a lovely sandwich. We've got a picture of it here. Ooh. You see, you're impressed now.
Yum.
Yeah.
No, the photographer did a great job there.
What's in it?
So that is a tandoori cod sandwich. The tandoori I left in the pan, though, because it all got sizzled off. But there was some amazing onion rings in there. I think they saved me.
I like Sophie going, yeah, nice. Because Sophie, I do like this. You had a sandwich experience in Russia. Was this when you were a tourist or a pop star?
I think you might be referring to the time when there's I mean, you've always got your rider, and sometimes the rider is slightly invented. And so this one was a plate of sandwiches, but they'd left it on an ironing board with an iron. I suppose I can make them, I don't know, toasted by myself? I'm not sure.
So you posted this picture. So this is...
Yeah.
Personally, I think it looks possibly delicious. Because
Emphasis on the possibly.
Yeah, well, no, you'd really melt the cheese. It'd be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Dave, obviously you're a big star now. The days of ironing your own sandwiches, long gone. What is a Dave Grohl rider? What do you demand?
Oh, my goodness. Clean socks.
Oh, really?
Clean socks?
Clean socks.
That's on
New
your rider?
Socks. Am I wrong that anyone who's bought a brand new pair of socks, when you first put them on, you're just like, oh. You walk around the floor and it's like you're walking on air. Am I the only person?
No, I'm right.
Am I right?
Socks is a good feeling.
Iron sheets, I think. Iron sheets are like that's lovely. Get into an iron sheet bed.
None of this is very rock and roll, though.
Okay, comedy tour. What's on your rider?
I've only got one thing on my rider, and it's only in recent years since I've become this fat, Graham. And it's there's a new product out, an anti-sweat device, and I.
Deodorant? No.
No, there's a new wipe for upper body sweating. And
Towel?
the lady who made me up tonight, as you can probably see, didn't have it. So that's my only...
Device for upper body sweating?
Yeah.
What does it look like?
It's a wipe. It's like a hand wipe. And if I'm on TV normally, I wipe it from here down to about my waist. And I remain fresh. I mean, obviously, below the waist, it's horrendous.
Would it not work?
It looks like I've been river fishing.
But is it sort of just deodorant on a wipe?
It feels more industrial than that. It feels
like
dangerous.
Is it powdered?
I can't move after I've had it.
Well, you're going to get a lot of it free now, whatever it is.
I'm waiting for the sponsorship deal from the sweating companies or Greg's the baker. Come on.
Yeah. One or the other. It's a race. It's a race to see who gets to you first. Sophie Ellis-Bextor brings us her memoir, Spinning Plates. And this is out on October the 7th. And now, Dave was saying he wrote his in lockdown. This wasn't a lockdown project for you.
Actually, it was actually, yeah.
Oh,
so,
okay.
yeah, sorry. So, yeah. I was
Got
only
any medals?
Definitely not.
So the book did come about in lockdown?
Yes, so I was approached about writing it about a year ago, actually. And I'd never really thought before, actually, about writing an autobiography. And I think it was just serendipity, really, the right question at the right time. So the initial idea was that I was going to write a series of essays about kind of whatever I felt like writing about. And as I sat down to write, and maybe a little bit like you, it just kind of came tumbling out of me, really. And I thought, oh, I think I'm writing the whole thing here. I think this is an autobiography. And I really loved it. It was a really nice process. Yeah.
And this book, there's lots of it people expect, you know, your pop career and your family and your kids and your being a child and everything. But at the heart of it, there are some dark stories. And were they always going to be in the book, or did you kind of just brace yourself and go, OK, I'm going to do this?
Yeah, I think it was a very selfish pursuit in terms of what I wanted to write about and the things that I felt that I was ready to. But you know what, it's funny, because I presume when you said about the dark things, you're talking about stuff like the first time I slept with someone, which wasn't something that I consented to at the time, and then
the first
relationship I was in that wasn't great. But it's funny, there's an amazing power in being able to write about those things on my own terms. And I feel like this weird sense that me and 17-year-old me are like high-fiving each other. I've been able to go back to that younger girl and give myself a voice, and it feels great. It feels really good.
Oh, I'm so pleased for you, because because the trouble, because the danger is you kind of think you'll go back there and kind of traumatize yourself all again, but
yeah.
no.
I think I totally understand why you're saying that, but actually I've had some amazing feedback from people, like some close friends, some people I don't know so well, and someone said to me, it's actually not triggering to read a relationship, something that resonates with you. It's actually empowering, and I just don't know when having those conversations isn't a good thing. When doesn't something good come out of people being honest about stuff? And a lot of people might see me and think, oh, happily married, I'm very lucky to have a job I adore, I've got my beautiful children, but there's things that happened along the way that have made me appreciate all those all the more. So I'm very happy to share that and be honest and open. It's a nice feeling.
And you talk about your family and you talk about your children.
Yeah.
Remind me the ages again, what did you say?
So they're now between 2 and 17.
2 and 17,
Yeah.
5, all boys.
Yeah.
In the Grohl house, it's all girls, right?
We got 3 girls.
I'm sensing a reality show, that's all I'm saying.
I think it's called the Brady Bunch. I'm not sure.
Oh, my God.
Actually, Kadeena, 5, 3, nothing. How many are you from?
So there's 7 of us in our household.
Woo!
That's cool, though.
6 girls and a boy.
Did you like it?
No, so me...
Oh, no.
That's not really horrible, no? I think I answered that before I thought about it.
Oh, sorry.
Me and my sister, so I've got a sister that's 32, and the youngest one of the older ones, she's 26. So in that, gap, there's 5 of us. So that was very intense growing up. I love my little brother and sister, who are, I think they're 14 and 16 this year. So they're really sweet.
Yeah.
But, they're very, different.
But separate,
from... Yeah. So it was intense growing up, but I love my sisters now. We've got a great little camaraderie, is what we'll call it.
Because actually, Sophie, you talk about your life and sharing your life. The kitchen discos, we did sort of see some of the carnage of your home life. Here's a taste of what went on in your kitchen discos.
About the hospital.
That's during lockdown?
Yeah, I had to keep telling them off because they kept climbing up stuff, and I'm like, we can't go to hospital right now, get down. This is not the time to injure yourself.
I just feel so ashamed that you were doing these amazing things during lockdown.
Oh, that's not amazing, though, is it really?
Do you know what I achieved during the first 3 months of lockdown? I ate 117 Mars bars.
How do you know how many?
That's it.
Wow.
More worthy than I thought.
Yeah, people are genuinely impressed.
Yeah,
that is a lot of Mars bars, yeah.
The worst I did was 7 in a day. Don't do 7 in a day. It made me want to... I tried to pull my own face off.
Now, looking at that, Sophie,
Yeah.
It doesn't look likely, but are any of the boys interested in pursuing a career in music?
Well, the thing is, I did have a captive audience in my kids while I was doing discos, but sadly, I don't think many of them are fans of what I do, so, you can't pick and choose those things in lockdown. Yeah, I've definitely got a couple where I would be surprised if they're not in bands or want to do music for a bit, but I don't know, I mean, some of them are really little still, so it's hard to say.
Because, Dave, you were telling us your daughters, was it Harper, did she get a piano lesson?
Oh, yeah. Years ago, I made friends with Paul McCartney, and his wife and my wife swapped numbers. So every time he'd come to Los Angeles, his wife would text my wife and say, hey, we're going to dinner. Would you like to come to dinner? And, of course, my wife knows who Paul McCartney is, but I don't know if he means the same to her as he does to me. He's a Beatle. That's how I learned how to play music. Mm-hmm. So we had just had Ophelia, our youngest, and Paul and Nancy were in town. They said, okay, we want to come see the new baby. She was a week old. So they come over to the house, and of course my kids know who the Beatles are because I brainwashed them when they were young with all of the Beatles music. We have wine, pizza, and we're hanging out, and it was time for Paul to go. Paul and Nancy were leaving, and there's a piano in the corner of the room, and he just can't help himself, you know? So he sits down at the piano, and he starts playing Lady Madonna. In my fucking house. And my mind is blown. I can't believe this is happening. This is like the most full circle, crazy moment of my entire life. My daughter Harper, who I think was 5 at the time, is watching Paul McCartney on the piano, and she goes to the kitchen, she gets a coffee cup, she puts some spare change in it, and puts it on top of the piano like it's a tip jar. And I thought, she's a Grohl. I like that.
And did he then kind of teach her some chords?
He did, actually. She'd never taken a lesson to play any instrument at that point. And she sat down and she watched his hands. They sat together and he was showing her what to play. And they wrote a song together. As they were doing it, it was the only time I've ever taken a picture of Paul. Because to me, I don't really want to do that. I just want to kind of be his friend, you know?
Yeah.
But I saw my daughter getting her first piano lesson from Paul McCartney, and I took a video. The next morning, I woke up and I went to the kitchen and I was making breakfast, and I heard her playing the song that they had written the night before. And I came around the corner, and she looked at me as she was playing the piano. She realized I was watching, and she never played the piano again.
Oh, for God's sake.
And then she's like, I want to be a drummer. I'm like, are you out of your mind?
But she wrote a song with Paul McCartney.
They sat down and they started writing a song together.
Oh, my God.
That's
His
unreal.
daughter wrote a song with Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
I did eat 117 miles.
Now, Greg Davies, you are here to tell us about your new BBC sitcom, Cleaner. It continues on Friday nights at 9:30 BBC One, and the full series is available to binge on iPlayer now. So this is a weird kind of journey. So this show began in German, on German television.
Yeah, it was a German TV show that ran for about 7 series over there. Yeah, and the Germans have actually got a word for crime scene cleaner, one word that I still can't pronounce. But it started off as a little show and it ran for 7 series. Yeah.
And how did you find it?
Studio Hamburg, who made it, approached the BBC and said, "We'd like to. Do you want to do an adaptation of this? And can we get that fat, sweaty bloke?"
And then there are lots of really sorry guest stars. Did you write roles specifically for the various guest stars?
I didn't dare. I did. I mean, if I was honest, I had David Mitchell in my head when I wrote the David Mitchell one because he's such a distinctive voice. So I just kept my fingers crossed that he would do it because I had his nasal rants in my mind when I was writing it. But the rest, I just put them out and hoped nice people would say yes. Hey, no,
Oscar nominee Helena Bonham Carter.
no one was more surprised than me that she said yes. Can I tell you something? Can I tell you what was happening in that? Obviously, that's the edited scene, but I'll tell you. We had someone, Laurie, the first AD, was operating a fart machine just off to the right. And that isn't a real bathroom. That was a bedroom in the house because the bathroom wasn't big enough, sorry. So we took a bedroom and we converted it. So it's a prop toilet, prop sink, etc. And so we had Laurie operating a fart machine just off to my right here so that we could have the occasional subtle little break of wind from Helena while she's holding me hostage in the toilet. And I was doing the scene, and then he was getting so trigger happy, it was ridiculous. I was trying to do lines, and there was... It was bloody ridiculous. So, in the end, I had to stop acting. I looked over at him, and he wasn't pressing the button. And I went... And I looked behind me, it was Princess Margaret going off like a tugboat behind me. Genuinely farting. And I'd only just got over the shock that Helena Bonham Carter had said yes to my thing, and then she was farting within feet of me. And I turned around and I went, Helena, And she found it so funny. She found her own farting, which was magnificent, I might say. She found her own farting so funny, she then wet herself. And had to leave the set. And while she was leaving the set, she was shouting at the top of her voice, "It's natural! It's natural!"
the cleaner easy one. Obviously, it's all on iPlayer. How many episodes are left on the Friday night?
I think there's 2 more to go. The 4th one played out tonight with the brilliant Stephanie Cole, and there's 2 more to go. And watch them all on iPlayer. They're all there if you'd like to watch them. I would love you to watch them.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Greg. Right, time for music. This man is one of our favourite singers on the show, and tonight he's joined by a true music legend. Performing his current single, Who's Hurting Who, with Nile Rodgers on guitar, it's Jack Savoretti.
When you come after me and I go after you, when both of us are doing what we want to do, we both lie to each other, don't care much for the truth. But tell me something, who's hurting who? Who's hurting who? Hey, hey, hey. Who's hurting who? Who's hurting who? Oh, 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 yeah. You love to take the long way, I just cut straight through. You tell me who I am, I tell you what to do. Both of us are victims of each other's contradictions. When our instincts meet, we can't break through. Who's hurting who? Who's hurting who? Tell me something, who's hurting who? Who's hurting who? Oh, oh, oh. Who's hurting who? You're after me when I'm hurting you now. Who's hurting who? Who's hurting who now? Oh, yes. 'Cause you don't want to need to my demands and how I can make you feel. This is how I make you feel. And when I don't wanna know what you have to say, I just turn away and go. I always turn away and go. Who's hurting who? Who's hurting who? Tell me something, who's hurting who? Who's hurting who? Tell me something, who's hurting who? You're after me while I'm hurting you now. Tell me something, who's hurting who? You're after me while I'm hurting you now. Oh, who's hurting who? Yes.
Jack Savoretti, Nile Rodgers and the band. Come on over, gentlemen, do. Yay! There you go. Hello, Nile Rodgers. Hello, Jack Savoretti. Lovely to see you both. Thank you very much for that. Congratulations on the album, Your Piana, which is a #1 album, Jack Savoretti. Yeah. Yeah. And,
Thank you.
And no, that is the soundtrack to my summer. I listened to that album
Really?
so much.
You mean,
Yeah, no,
thank you, man. That's what it was kind of designed to be.
Yeah, yeah.
It kind of gives it away.
Yeah, you're continuing summer with this song.
Well, I wanted to give my kids the summer holiday that we couldn't go on. That was kind of the whole point of this album was, you know, looking out the window wasn't cutting it.
And how did this happen, Niall? Did Jack Savoretti send you a postcard?
It was a tweet. No, it was an email. It was as simple as, I've been trying to imitate Nile Rodgers since the first time I ever saw an electric guitar. Like, I think anybody who's ever played an instrument, there's every time in the studio, I'm like, can we put some Nile Rodgers-style guitar down on this? And I was working with Mark Ralph on this track, and he said, yeah, let's just ask Nile to do it.
Okay.
So, yeah, here we are.
And then you said yes. Yeah.
Of course.
And you've worked with some... Have you, Sophie, have you met Niall?
I don't think we have met, have we?
Hi, Sophie.
Hello. And now we meet.
And Dave Grohl, I wouldn't have... I mean, have you... Foo Fighters, Nile Rodgers?
He's the king, dude. He's my god. He's the king. We've met before many times.
we love
I
each
love
other.
him so much. And the thing I love about him so much, of course, everyone knows he's a brilliant musician. He's a brilliant producer, songwriter. But he's got this big energy, man. It's so full of love and so full of life. And that's what I love about him the most. When I see his face, I'm just like, life actually happened.
And you are a doer. That's the thing I think about Nile Rodgers. You know, you've worked with so many people over the years. You know, the Madonnas, Bowie, Duran Duran, Diana Ross, all these people. Have you ever approached them, or do they always... Do you just sit in your house waiting for phones to ring?
You know, it's really strange. Most of my relationships have been based on just chance meetings. I'd run into someone, we'd vibe and just decide we're going to work. Like Dave and I, we've known each other for a while, but backstage we're like negotiating when we do a record.
It was like, it's time to make a record. Like, we got to make a record together at some point.
Do it!
You know, the vibe, right?
Yeah, it's
just
true.
vibe.
The only person that I actually tracked down was Peter Gabriel, and I was relentless. I tracked him down, and we did a number of projects, and you know, but he's the only person. Everybody else, you just, you know, I mean, I met Diana Ross. She came to one of our shows, and I turned around and said, "Oh my God, look at that! There's Diana Ross." And next thing you know, I was producing Diana Ross. Bowie, I met at a nightclub. Just walked in, and I was with Billy Idol, and he says, "I don't like to do accents, but to my American ears, it sounded like this. Bloody hell, this David fucking Bowie." And as he said Bowie, he barfed. But the thing that's cool is that Billy and I were such great friends. And I knew him. I mean, we used to go out every night, and after he barfed, he went, "Hello, mate." But that turned into Let's Dance. I mean, it was just a chance.
Have you ever
meeting.
just met someone on the chat show and it's just like...
No, this is a new experience.
Now, Jack Savoretti, back to you. You are on tour right now, but you're touring in the UK when? March, April?
February, March, April, yeah, we're going to do Italy before. Hopefully Niall's going to come, because Niall knows Italy better than I do.
Okay.
He lived literally in Santa Margherita, the place next to the village, Portofino, where all of the video for this album was basically made. So he's going to give me a tour of my area next time we go to Italy, so hopefully that'll happen too.
Well, listen, good luck with that and the single, and thank you for that fantastic performance. Jack Savoretti and Nile Rodgers, everybody! Woo! Right, that is nearly it, but we go just time for a visit to the big red chair. Who's there? Hello.
Hello, I'm Ty.
Ty. Ty. And where are you from, Ty?
From London.
London. And what do you do, Ty?
I'm currently looking for a job in music.
If only there was someone here... You've no story at all, have you, Ty? You saw, how can I meet them? How can I talk to them? When you say looking for a job in music, do you play an instrument or something?
I don't know, so...
OK.
I'm looking for... Yeah. This is my CV.
I don't think Niall's ever going to tell the story when he met a guy on a chat show and...
And, you know, he played no instrument.
He couldn't play anything.
Nothing.
He was just good at sitting.
Yeah. We'll see if he is.
Yeah.
All right, Ty, off you go with your story.
Yeah. So, about 6 years ago, I was in Heaven nightclub in London, and as it happened, Nicole Scherzinger was there, and one of my friends knew someone in her dance troupe. She wanted to go and dance, so they kind of barried off the stage. We went up on the stage, we were dancing there. Someone comes up to me and starts dancing on me, but I'm kind of like, go away. We then get off the stage and my friend says, why did you not go home with that person? And I say, well, why would I?
I was on the edge of my seat, actually.
Yeah, so was I. I don't know. But it could have been, and... No, I've never seen Nicole Scherzinger at Heaven. No.
Has he gone down the second chute that leads to the car park?
Okay, that really is all we've got time for. If you'd like to have a go with the red chair yourself and tell you a story, you can contact us via our website to this address. Please say a huge thank you to all of my guests tonight. Jack Savaretti and Niall Rogers. Greg Davies. Sophie Ellis-Bextor. Kadeena Cox. And Mr. Dave Grohl. Join me next week with musical guest Texas comedy actress Daisy Haggard, Pose star Billy Porter, Killing Eve's Jodie Comer, and Hollywood great Andy McDowell. I'll see you then. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Dave Grohl's looking back on his